wants you down at the cemetery.
Today?
Hold on.
Sheriff? They want you down at the cemetery.
Today in the cemetery, somebody dug up a coffin. It was a coffin of a 9-year-old girl. You've come back to us, Michael.
When are they going to realize that she is not him? She's just a child.
They know that Michael Myers is her uncle, and that she attacked her stepmother. That's why they fear her, especially on Halloween. You're afraid. You're afraid the whole thing might start to happen again.
How many people did he kill last year? Have you forgotten? But you never looked into his face, did you? You never saw his eyes. You never saw that nothing, no expression, blank. Huh? My memory goes back 12 years. I prayed that he would burn in hell. But in my heart, I knew that hell would not have him. Michael Myers is outside.
The National Guard will take him to a maximum security facility, where he'll stay till the day he dies.
Never die.
That trailer is way better than the movie. It's if only it lived up to what that trailer was like. But today is an exciting day, guys, because this is my first time I get a special guest on the HalloScream review series. I thought it would be fun as part of this portion to kind of debate for like 30 minutes about Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, I brought on my friend, what the hell? Oh, there's a fly on my camera. What the hell is that about? Please get off the camera. Okay, that was weird. I was like, what is going on? What's in front of my screen? And I was like, oh, shoot. That's what it is. A new subscriber, right? Or stalker in this case, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's been stalking me this whole time. It's just kind of ridiculous. And by the way, this is funny. I look like I'm being stabbed right through the face because of the way this knife is like in the background. It's like the knife.
Yeah, I see.
It's like whoosh, I'm just getting stabbed completely through the body. I know. It's probably because of my opinion on this film.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have my lifelong friend here, Noah from high school. He used to, when we watched all these movies together, he used to not really be a big fan of this one. Then I guess recently he rewatched it not too long ago, and then he called me one time saying, "Dude, I've kind of like reversed on Halloween 5 now, and I'm like actually kind of a fan of it." And then I checked his letterbox, and I can't say just yet because we saved this for the end. All of us are doing this at the end of I can't say quite yet where this would be on my ranking. All I can give you guys a hint is that it'll be low. But For him, he has this as like his number 3, and I looked at that. I was like, "What the hell?" And so he is here today to explain to us why is this your third favorite Halloween movie? Why do you have this over the fan favorite that is Halloween 4 and one of my favorites?
Halloween 4? Okay, so I have this over to Halloween 4. Is that what you want me to go into first?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, sure. Okay, so I'm also a fan of Halloween 4. I really enjoy Halloween 4 as well. The one thing I will say, because when I did the time I called you and told you about how I fell in love with Halloween 5, I was doing a marathon of 4, 5, and 6 because that's the Jamie storyline or something like that.
Did your opinion sway on 6?
Uh, no, I still
Okay.
um, but yeah, upon rewatching 4, like I still really enjoyed it, and there were a lot of like elements to it. Like especially, I love like the whole Halloween vibe of Halloween 4. But like the first, I want to say it was like 20 or 30 minutes of that film was kind of a bit rough, in my opinion. Like I don't know. Like once it gets to the Halloween stuff, it's really good. But like a lot of the beginning of the film is a little.
I mean, I don't know. I love the whole like bandage Myers, and I love that whole like thing where he just like has that kind of look to him, goes into the place, kills the guy to get his jumpsuit and everything, and like there's definitely a couple moments there in the first 20 minutes that are like really well done, in my opinion.
Maybe a couple, but yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't big on it. But one thing I will say about like Halloween 5, what I enjoyed about it upon like the second watch is I don't know. I have this like weird thing with like horror movies and like trauma, and so of course my favorite Halloween being Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 because
Which I've also will have you on for because that's going to be a doozy of a conversation.
yeah, because that one's pretty much dealing all about trauma and like the side effects of going through a horrific event such as everybody pretty much getting murdered. And upon watching Halloween 5, I felt like it really, in my opinion at least, captured a lot of that like trauma. Of course, obviously, uh, the young girl is in the hospital for stabbing her own mother, not killing her, but yeah, still stabbing her own mother, and um, and then like the events that occur during Halloween 5, like her uh her like stepsister or whatever dies, and then her, I guess you call her friend, dies, and like I just all the things that she goes through in this film, like it was what I think a horror movie should be, in my opinion.
All right. Well, uh, those exact words was what my mother said when she watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She said, "This is what a horror movie should be," and that is what a horror movie should be. Um, but this one, you talked about the people dying and characters dying. I do want to mention this real quick. And just get your thoughts on it. But like I said in my Halloween 4 review, I'm in the minority here. All right, don't get me wrong. I love Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. She's great. But I actually am in the minority that even though she's only in like one and like can even say a quarter movie, it's like kind of crazy. I do still prefer the character of Rachel actually over Laurie Strode. I think Rachel was a better final girl all around. I think she was like just more like like fleshed out and more just like almost more relatable for me anyways of a character. And so when they killed her off the way they did in this film, I'm like, really? Like I understand it's a horror film. I understand it's a slasher, but it's like it felt sort of like Alice from Friday 13th Part 2. I love Friday 13th Part 2, but it's like they literally just had Alice there at the beginning just to kill her. They were like, "Oh yeah, here, boom, Jason's there just to kill you." And I'm like, I felt it was like the same way with Rachel, and like she was just there just for Myers to kill her, and it was like kind of
Well, yeah. Okay, so I'll say that like that is one thing that in general the horror franchise movies like do that bugs me as well. And, like sometimes they can kind of do it right, but most of the time it's not done right. I will say Halloween 5, it's still not done right. So I can agree with you on that part. Like I feel like if that part was a little different, then sure, maybe it could, or if it was handled better, then I think Halloween 5 would definitely be more higher rated for me. But I mean, like overall, I still enjoy them. But yeah, I feel like that part, that's right, is definitely because it bugs me too. Like especially like Halloween 6. Actually, Halloween 6 is worse than Halloween 5. But
yeah, I agree
yeah,
with
it's
that. Yeah, because yeah, that part always kind of bummed me out. But I will say, despite that one kill, there are some cool kills in this movie. Um, like my personal favorite in this is when the couple's having sex and Michael Myers this is like, no, that's not good. You should not be doing that. So he sticks a pitchfork right through him. That's my favorite one. In the barn.
yeah,
I thought,
classic.
I thought that one was like the best death of uh, this film. Would that be like your favorite death in Halloween 5?
It's see, I don't really watch horror movies for the deaths that much, so none of them really like stand out as being favorites usually. But yeah, I would guess that probably would be.
Yeah. I just know that like by the end of this I'll be doing a kill ranking of every kill from
Uh,
Halloween. So that's why I've been trying to focus on uh sort of the kills and which ones are the best. And with slasher films it's a lot easier to do because
oh,
a lot of people uh die in slasher films. Um but I mean I do agree that Jamie Lloyd, Daniel Harris as a kid actress, she always was incredible. Halloween 4 to this, I mean, she's just amazing at such a young age, and it helped her just skyrocket into becoming the talent that she is now. Um, One thing though that like bums me out, and this is why I kind of am right, like have an outline that I'm making for like a fan film that would like retcon this movie because it just is like because it's just to me so is like they set up so much cool potential with Halloween 4 just to kind of like spit in the face of it and say, yeah, no, we're not going to do that now. Uh, screw that cool ending that we set up with her, you know, going the way of Michael Myers. It's like instead we're gonna, do this weird thing in the hospital and all that stuff. So I don't know. It was like to me, they didn't like they had an explanation at least, so they didn't fully retcon it, but they also still sort of retconned the events of Halloween 4 at the end there. And I've always wanted to make a true sequel to Halloween 4. That's been my thing. I'm like, fans deserve a true sequel that they never got. So
I could see that. Like, yeah, Halloween 4's ending was really good. So like, I could see where a lot of people could like maybe not quite enjoy the direction it went. Like upon my first viewing of Halloween 5, like you said, I didn't really enjoy it that much, partially for that reason. But as upon rewatch, where I was like started to feel more okay with it, mainly because I don't know, for me, even though I would say Halloween 5, it feels different from a lot of the other films in the franchise, in my opinion, which I know for a lot of people can be a turnoff, but I don't know. For me, I like different, and I like when movies don't exactly kind of like copy. Anyway, I mean, of course, it has those normal Halloween stuff, tropes, whatnot, but I don't know, the tone, I felt like it was a little different and less Halloween the other Halloween films. But I don't know, I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah.
And I
That's
will say,
that's
oh,
well. Just so you don't lose your thought, what were you gonna say?
you talking about how like Halloween 4, well, how Halloween 5 could have like Halloween 4 set up a bunch of things to only be like destroyed by Halloween 5. And I kind of feel like it's the same with Halloween 5 setting up quite a few things that then Halloween 6 destroy, like with the whole cult thing and
Yeah,
Michael Myers breaking prison and stuff like that. But like, yeah,
like I'm having issues with this new Halloween trilogy. Obviously, like we've stated before and everything, but like at least I feel like even if Halloween Ends sucks, like I at least feel like they have a full vision of what they want to do with this trilogy. Like even if it sucks, like it I at least in like sensing that there's a vision there. While like this trilogy is just sort of like, hey, we're just like going to do this thing. Oh, but this thing didn't really work, so let's just go and do this thing instead. Oh, but this thing apparently didn't really work, so let's just go and do this thing instead. It's like choose what the heck, people. Because I mean, Loomis doesn't he like die of a heart attack in this movie, and then he comes back in Halloween 6. I remember that. It's like so
who dies of a heart attack?
Dr. Loomis in this. Because it's like after his fight with Michael, Michael's laying there, and then he like is like uh laying, he's like on the ground. He like lays on top of Michael, and then he's like, and like has a few last breaths or whatever, and then you
I
know,
didn't really die or anything like that.
yeah, I guess some people, because I don't think he's like see what happens to him after that. I don't think because it just goes to like the jail or something. I think so. I guess people didn't really
Yeah.
get to know, but either way, there were still some things that were set up that they, and that's another thing. Why the hell you hear all this stuff? It's been years, all right. You put Michael Myers in jail. I guess you're thinking like, well, what else are you gonna do with him? Maybe I would say kill him, but like you're gonna take him to jail. Like, what do you expect is gonna happen? Like, he's going to break out. Like he's Michael Myers for Pete's sake. He's a supernatural force. It's like, um, so it's yeah, that part's always been kind of funny, but I do agree. And like you mentioned, this is definitely the least Halloweeny I feel of the Halloween films. Like my favorite, I said this in last week, that my favorite as far as like atmosphere goes, my favorite Halloween film as far as atmosphere is Halloween 4, just because of the like it feels like it's Halloween time. It's like, oh man, you like go outside, you feel like you want to go trick or treating and stuff. It's like it just feels that way. Um, so that's one other aspect that felt kind of disappointing to me. But um, Although it might be a little bit more Halloween-y than Halloween 6. I don't remember like any jack-o'-lanterns in that movie. Maybe that's just me. I'm gonna be seeing it again soon, but it's like I don't really remember any stuff there. And of course, I mean Halloween Resurrection isn't really Halloween either. Or,
I forget.
or,
Yeah, that's
or,
that
or
resurrection.
H2O, yeah, those aren't really but hey, Resurrection's a good segue. So while I would still probably prefer her over Busta Rhymes any day, I am not a fan of the Tina character. And from last we talked, you are a fan of the Tina character, but you're also a fan of the Phantom Menace, and Jar Jar Binks is in the Phantom Menace, and you're all like defended Jar Jar Binks or whatever. And it's like, she's now known as the Jar Jar Binks of the Halloween franchise. So sort of like explain why you love the Jar Jar Binks of the Halloween franchise.
Okay. Well, so I don't know if it's because like I'm a pretty like tolerant person, I guess you could say. Like so like Jar Jar Binks for me, like he doesn't bother me all that much. I know to some people he's really annoying, but like for me I'm just like, I mean, is he that funny? Not exactly, but he doesn't bother me that much. It's kind of the same with Tina. I mean, she's a teenager. I mean, that's when we were teenagers. I mean, like we were pretty dumb and probably annoying sometimes too. And like, so yeah, she has her moments where she's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. But I mean, you could tell, like even in the movie, like I could tell she had a lot of heart. She really cared about like her friends. She really cared about Jamie, and so it was, I don't know, something I could see, and I was like, she's just a teen, so
Yeah. And trust me, and I know like you would know just as well. I was just as dumb and annoying as probably she was in high school. But I would still not be dumb enough if I saw you in some weird cuckoo mask and you were not talking to me, you weren't saying a word, I'd be like, okay, there's something up. I'm getting out of this car. But she's like, Mikey, Mikey. And I'm like, and he has this weird, like, I don't even know, mask, like a witch mask or something on. And then it's just sort of like an old lady mask or old man mask. And it's just like, why do you think that that's your boyfriend? Why are you not getting out of the car right now? It's like stuff like that that kind of annoyed me just a tad. And on this rewatch, I'm still not a fan of her character, but like I can understand stuff that like she definitely cared you know, um, for her friends, and she cared for Jamie and all that stuff. And um, but I don't know. It's like I think it's also coming off of like Rachel, and it's like you literally kill Rachel in this movie to stick us with Tina. You know, I feel like that's a lot of the reason as to why people get like kind of upset when, when Tina pops up. Um, but I mean, I will say that those who, and there are people out there in the camp that say like Tina's the worst Halloween character of all time. I would I could think of worse. I mean, is she good in my or even great in my opinion? Not really, but I could definitely think of worse, like Busta Rhymes from Halloween Resurrection, and if
any
you
character from Halloween Resurrection.
yeah, any character from that movie I could think of as worse than Tina. Um, so yeah, she's has potential, but she just doesn't fully get there for me. Um, but I do love her. I do think her friends are really fun in this movie. Uh, I don't know all the names right now, but I think all the characters who play her friends are really good here. Um, and plus, we all know that the real reason you love her is because of her soft spot for little baby kittens. So
Ah, kittens, yes.
yeah,
The true
uh,
reason why I love this movie. Those kittens are just to die
yeah,
for.
yeah. Well, literally, because they died for her. So
They did not die, okay? Like they lived.
I thought there was one that like she walks into the barn, she's like, "Oh my god," or something. She sees like a kitten or something, like freaks out, and then she sees like her friend's dead or something, and then that's when she runs out of the barn because she sees like a kitten dead, and then she sees her friend's dead or something.
The cat had like blood all over it, but it wasn't dead. It ran off.
Oh, okay, okay, I got, yeah, I got kind of confused there. I was like loosely watching this movie last night because I was like sort of I was watching it, but I was just like I'd be like. So I would like or I would like watch it this week because I'd be like, oh, I don't want to be reminded of this scene, um, but no, I will say that to me, despite my kind of hatred for this movie, there's always that there's always that thing like I hate Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but I think Annie's death is a masterpiece. So there's definitely stuff like that that can pop up in movies that I'm not a fan of. Um, and I feel like the third act of this movie is really strong. Maybe not as strong as like the third act in Halloween 4, but it's still really strong when Jamie and Michael are in that fight and he's like reaching through the cellar and she's like there's some legit tense moments in there as you watch it and it's just kind of like oh you're actually like on the edge of your seat during certain parts so uh, so yeah for me I think the best parts of this movie is that obviously Dr. Loomis, Jamie Lloyd, um, they're all great. uh, what about what What third act do you kind of prefer? The Halloween 4 or Halloween 5?
I personally prefer Halloween 5 still. I
Okay.
think it's I think it's more there's more I'm trying to think of the word to use. It's about they're about the same as far as like tense and like ish. But I would say Halloween 5 is a little more in a way personal in a sense to the character of Jamie because I mean it's her being chased by Michael Myers, who she's related to, in the house, and of course like she sees all her like friends, her dog and stuff that they're dead. She just happens to see them in front of her, and like I don't know, it's just one of those where I feel like that's probably where a lot of the part of why I like it a lot is because the third act is, in my opinion, so strong. So
Yeah. I can definitely see why that would sway it. There is one part in the third act, if I remember correctly, where she's like, where Michael's holding a knife up to her, and she's like, "Uncle," or something like that, and then he's like, being all like, uh, stunned by that. And I've always thought that one part was stupid because I'm like, why would he even care? He literally was like trying to kill his sister. It's like, why would he even care about Jamie Lloyd doing something like that? He would just full on be like, "Oh, well, I tried to kill my sister. Why would I even care if I killed you right now or something like that?" And it was like, I don't know. I've always been
my
kind of
theory is they had since in Halloween 5 they kind of have this like psychic connection almost. My theory
mm,
is that Jamie somehow like got into his head and then like probably did something. Obviously, like
yeah. That's a good point because and that Halloween 4, when they touched hands, that's when she ended up kind of killing or wounding her mother. And so in Halloween 5, there's she was able to kind of like sense when some people died and everything, and like when certain people, like what Michael would be able to do. So that is a interesting theory there that maybe she got into his head, put something into his head, and he thought like, oh shoot. Um, yeah, they just didn't for some more casual audiences. They didn't really make that crystal clear, I guess you could say. So, um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think that makes the most sense because of the fact that it is a lot of it has to do with psychic kind of abilities. Um, but yeah, so do you have any other kind of thoughts we didn't really bring up about Halloween 5?
So I do have two. Um, one, both kind of questions for you. One of them is like, I know you were talking earlier about how you said like a lot of the characters and everybody did really good. I do kind of want to ask, what do you think about Loomis's portrayal in this film?
Um, well, better than his portrayal in your favorite Halloween movie. That's for damn sure. Um, but uh, as far as this movie, see, like in Halloween 4, he was more of a central focus. While the focus was on like Rachel and Jamie, uh, and Michael, I mean, he was like just as much a main character. It was him on the hunt for Michael, looking for Michael. They had sort of like that whole scene where he's saving Jamie, bringing her to school, and then you have that great no at the end and everything. So it's like I don't know, it's like he's like gone full crazy now after the events of Halloween 2. And so with this one, I don't know. I've always loved how after Halloween 1, like Halloween 1 was his more like subdued performance. And then you get to Halloween 2 where he's like, I shot him 6 times. And like from that point forward, Donald Pleasance is just like he is hamming it up every time every chance he gets. I will say, considering, because he was not able to continue the character of Loomis after 6, he passed away. I will say that I do think that maybe it should have ended here for him, only because he doesn't really do much in 6. Like he's just kind of there, and so it's like to me, I feel like he should have it should have maybe ended here for him, um, but yeah. So I I like it, I think, but I'm not like I think his performance is good. As far as the portrayal of the character, I don't know. I'm kind of hit or miss on it in this one, but overall I think I'm a little bit more hit than I am miss on here. What do you think?
So I find it odd because like I must obviously not really care about Loomis all that much, only because in my favorite film, uh, Rob Zombie Halloween 2, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of his character. But also in this film, which is like my third favorite, I'm still not really that big of a fan of him. I mean, I like him more in this one than I do in Halloween 2. But I feel like he's a little too. Which I get it. He's trying to go after a killer, and not, but he's very harsh and in a way slightly abusive to Jamie, which I was like, she's a kid, like kind of go a little easier on her.
Yeah. Well, maybe because with the way that he sees it, like I think he regrets when Michael was taken into, the hospital. I feel like I, if I even remember correctly, I think he even said at one point he regrets not like doing something about Michael when he was young. The fact that he even waited this long and stuff like that. So maybe it's like because Jamie killed or not killed, but like severely wounded her mother and was going kind of the route of Michael and was kind of going crazy. Maybe he just is like paranoid and scared of what might happen, um, or what she has potential to do or is capable of doing. Um,
Yeah, I could see that.
so maybe he just thought like, oh, I must stop her now or something, or had some sort of mindset sort of similar to that, where it's like trying to protect her while also trying to like, I guess, make a statement or something. So I don't know.
Yeah, and then my second thing I gotta ask because I don't know why. Because am I the only one, or like, because I actually really really love the car chase scene where Michael Myers is in the car and he's chasing Jamie, the little boy, and the shoot, I can't
Ti-
remember her name.
Tina.
Tina. Yeah. Am I the only one who enjoys that scene? Or
uh, for one thing I would say is there's a reason you didn't remember her name. Two is also um because I will say that on this rewatch, I don't know, it was kind of fun. I will say that's one interesting thing about like these sequels going uh forward is, in the first one it was just pretty much his hands and a knife that he used. This and like as the sequels progressed, you saw how he would start using the environments around him and other things like that. So like Halloween 4, you literally shoves a shotgun right through a girl's stomach. Here he picks a pitchfork, uses that. And then also you could say like Halloween 2, using the hot tub. And then here also using a car of all things. And if I remember correctly, oh man, it either came out, I know these are drastically different like dates, but it either came out in like 83 or like 89 or something. I forget when it came out, but like if it came out in 89, John Carpenter's Christine, that would be funny because it's like the same, even though John Carpenter wasn't involved with this one, it's like um the fact that other than producer credit, that it's like whatever. Um but it would be just kind of funny knowing that a car movie that John Carpenter did, and you know a film that just so happens to have a fun car scene that from franchise he started. Both of them were kind of out the same year if it did come out in '89. I have to look that up again. But yeah, I enjoy that scene. I think it's actually kind of fun, and I don't, and on this rewatch, it actually made me kind of care for Tina because she makes sure that they're kind of running away while she's being chased and everything. She makes sure that they get out of there while she's kind of being the one being hunted by Michael. Um, and then you never fully see, by the way, you see her like get stabbed or whatever but but you know how like a lot of dead bodies are like put like something over the dead body, or they'll zip a thing over a dead body or something like that on the stretcher. They never did that, so there's potential. Okay, that maybe she goes to the hospital, gets fixed up, and she could pop up in Halloween Ends. Who knows?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, man. I already know so many people who would like walk out if that happened. Uh, but but yeah, so yeah, I actually enjoy the car scene. That's one of a few things I actually kind of have fun with. Um, it's different for Michael to enjoy or to use a car. Now, question is, do you enjoy that car scene more, or the car scene more where Michael Myers is basically pimping out and he's picking up the girl in a freaking old man mask or whatever the hell that was that he was wearing?
Uh, no, no, I enjoy the chase scene.
Yeah, yeah, nice. So do you have any other kind of thoughts to talk about with this one, or for?
I don't know. I think I've hit most of the points that I wanted to hit.
Yeah, um, and I hope that I have uh, converted you to a Halloween 5 hater.
Nah, I'm
Uh,
sorry. I
all
still
right,
love it.
that's fine. Well, I'm saving the good stuff for Rob Zombie's Halloween too. So,
Okay.
so
Are we all?
I'll definitely do that. But so I am curious to ask you though, because I already know this with Halloween 2, your answer with that, but with Halloween 5, I am curious to know, do you think it handles the idea of trauma better than uh, Halloween 2018? Because that film is all about her like fighting her demons and coming back kind of to take on her trauma and all that.
Um, Not necessarily, only because I would say Halloween 5 is more um almost kind of like in a way like Rob Zombie's Halloween 1, where it's more like a setup to that trauma. Like even though Jamie at that point had already been through a lot, I think Halloween 2 kind of, or Halloween 5 kind of is that, I guess, building block to where if they had done Halloween 6 correctly, Halloween 6 could have been like a really good look at trauma. So I feel like Halloween 5 was more of that kind of a building block to the trauma, and I wanted to see where that would have gone. Whereas Halloween 2018 is more looking back. It is more like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 in the fact that it's showing you how the character is dealing with what happened to them back then, which I guess Halloween 5 has some of that, but it's, for me, Halloween 5 is more so a building block than it is uh, that.
Yeah. And uh, talking about Jamie Lloyd, she, even though she can't play Jamie Lloyd, would you? How would you feel if Daniel Harris came back to play any other kind of character in Halloween, and she just came back to the role just so people were like recognizable face, and they're like, yeah, that that person, yeah,
Honestly, I think that would be really awesome. I think Danielle Harris is just a really great actress. Like, especially like, I mean, I think all she really does is horror films. But like any horror film I've
yeah,
ever seen her in, she's like pretty much like the standout and highlight.
Yeah, she was great in Hatchet 2. She was great in See No Evil 2. And she was there's and also in Rob Zombie's Halloween film, she was great. She was great in this. So it's like, yeah, she's definitely just one of the best horror actresses working today. And I'd love to see that. And hey, who knows? Because apparently after Ends, Blumhouse's contract is up. They can't use Halloween anymore. Apparently, it's like they had a trilogy. That's why they have Halloween Ends. And the rights go back to Mustafa Akkad after Halloween Ends. So for all we know, there could be a maybe a sequel to 6 or something down the line, like years later, or something with Jamie Lloyd or something like that. If Mustafa Akkad wants to continue that kind of stuff.
Well, it can't be a sequel to 6 if it's because Jamie
Well,
dies
yeah,
in-
that's true. But they could be one of those. I mean, the timeline's so screwed up anyways now. It's more screwed up than like the X-Men timeline at this point. So it's just like I saw this like chart on like how to watch the Halloween films to get ready for Ends, and I was like, there's nothing gonna help you. It's just all over the place. But yeah, I think we've about covered our tracks here, I think. So unless you have any more closing thoughts, we can pretty much end it here.
Yeah, no. I've pretty much spoken about what I enjoy about it. I mean, that I can think of off the top of my head at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah. There's always literally every single review have done for this series. There's always a time where I'll turn off the camera and I'm like, damn it, why did I say that thing? And I'm like, and I get so upset that I didn't say that one thing, talk about that one thing that happens with every review. So it's like something I can't help. So we'll see what that thing is, and when I shut off the camera, and I'll be like, dang it, I just said that thing. But
I'll just come on to your Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 stream and then just start blabbing about this film again and just be
yeah, and that'll work because Daniel Harris is in both. So
exactly.
And hey, do you like? That's one last thing I'll end on because it's Halloween related. It's Daniel Harris related. Do you prefer Daniel Harris as the Jamie Lloyd character or Daniel Harris as Annie from Rob Zombie's Halloween movies?
That's a tough one because I like the I guess the story of Jamie other than Halloween 6. I like the story of Jamie and her character probably better. But obviously, since Daniel Harris, by the time she's working in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, she's, of course, developed as an actress. So she's, gotten. I gotta say, she was great even as a child. So, like, to say she was better when she got older is maybe only partially true because she did so good as Jamie that, like,
And like back in the day, like nowadays with like the Stranger Things kids, the It kids, I mean, you're always getting like great kid performances out of the park. But like, but it's like back in the day, it was very like picky on who you could find. Like you had the Stand By Me kids, the Goonies kids. You had some of them that did good, but it's like it was harder to find those like kid performances that were like, holy shit, that person's amazing. And that sort of was like her as Jamie Lloyd. So, so you would say that Annie was as far as a performance goes, I think that maybe that one.
And he was like a more. It was a more mature role, I guess. Maybe slightly more complex in a way. But I think Jamie's story and her character was better.
Yeah, I hear that, and I mean either or. I mean, I do prefer. It's I mean it's weird that I kind of hate on Rob Zombie's Halloween when I prefer Daniel Harris's Annie to the original. So yeah, there's definitely things there that like on my first Scout Taylor Compton is Ori, but you know we'll we'll get more into that when we talk about it. But yeah, so that'll pretty much be it for us, guys. Do me a favor, all of you watching, be sure to not only like and subscribe, 7 subscribers away from 800, guys, but also be sure to check out everyone's reviews that they're doing in the description box below. Good Real Hunting, Jeffman316, Braden Timmons, Chris Snyder on Letterboxd. He's doing his on their Dark Ether Files podcast. And there's one more. If I'm forgetting someone, I think there's one more. If I'm forgetting for someone, you know who you are. Anyways, check out all those guys. They're doing great stuff with these reviews. I've been watching them all day. Oh yeah, Fachi Cinema, that was it. His too. He did as a kill ranking. So definitely check out all those guys down below. And tune in literally right after this. I will be filming an after show for House of the Dragon, because I was going to do it last night, but I got caught up watching Halloween 5. So I'm going to film it tonight. So stay tuned for that. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you, Noah, for agreeing to come on and do this. You're great.
Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah, and this gives you definitely plenty of time to prepare for like any like major thoughts you want to talk about for that one. So
I did like an essay on that film in like high school or whatever, or no, college. Whenever I watched it, I did a whole essay on why I thought it was good. So
wow, if you still have that essay, I'm gonna have to have you share that essay.
I have no idea where it's at. It's gone.
Oh no!
But I'll try my best.
Right. You've memorized it. Yeah.
Right. Sure. Yeah, part of it.
Cool. But yeah, so that'll about do it, guys. Next week will be Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. So stay tuned for that. And until next time,